All right. Hey, good morning. Happy Sunday. It is I, your host, Pogo Kiddo, with yet another Sunday morning episode. Amazing, yes, in some ways. Of Redstone Lapis Lazuli. Hey, good morning, good morning. I'm the default skin, Steve skin, only because I can't, I haven't, I'm using the shader pack and it, takes away my ability to wear skin. So if I want shaders, then I have to accept that, or use a different pack. I guess I could do that. Do all packs act this way? I don't think so. But the nice thing about this pack is that oh god is that it has the horses done. So the horses aren't all just the same color. They're all like variations now. Um the other thing is that I have not been playing Minecraft. I have not. I've been playing uh almost like nonstop. This game called Elden Ring. It has consumed me. It's weird, but I think things do that until I figure them out, and then I can put them down. Minecraft is different because it's not so much a game as um a program like I would use for um making, drawing pictures, like an editing, like an AutoCAD. There we go. Minecraft is more like AutoCAD. That's perfect. Minecraft is more like AutoCAD, and and Elden Ring is like watching a movie, and I'm kind of uh I'm kind of like overwhelmed by the way things are going in the world right now, and so it, as a way of hey, let me close the window, right, so I'm not so loud for everyone. So as a way of so as a way of unplugging, as a way of unplugging, I uh I played this game like nonstop, Elden Ring. So that's what I've been doing. And that's pretty cool. All right, let's see. So I haven't been playing Minecraft. No Minecraft. Uh there's a few things, right? Then I realized I saw a charge on my credit card. I'm like, I'm paying for this online server for like nothing. A person came on for like a little bit, built something that was cool, and then left, and that was it. I'm like, all right, why am I paying for this money then? I shouldn't have paid for it to begin with. So I canceled that subscription, and I put it back on my local server on my own computer. So that means I have increased view distance, which means I can see up the mountain further. And you can see, indeed, yes, it is a mountain. It's not just like you can see clearly. In other words, before you couldn't see the other side; it would be like invisible, and now you can see it. So yay! Um, Iron Farm. Hey, it's not going. It will. It will. I think. Well, anyways, I'll figure it out. So yeah, I have this on my local server, and uh, you can just see farther. So it just makes everything look better if you can see the full distance. Because there's no reason to limit distance. It was no one was joining the server. There's nothing about it. So check it out. Let's see. Um, but I've been playing this other game called oh, I'm so lost. I've been playing this other game called Elden Ring, and it's like nonstop. And I didn't realize it was like a MMO. It's kind of like an MMO. I mean, you can like group up with people if you want, but it's mainly a solo game. And that's how I played World of Warcraft. So it's like, wait a minute, I'm back at this thing again. And now I hear there's like an end game where everyone hangs out, and I'm like, oh, uh-oh. I'm like, what am I getting myself into? But that's cool. Ta-ta, ta-ta, ta-ta. So yeah, this is a pretty undeveloped world. I haven't really developed anything here. But I have a pretty strong foundation. I got an iron farm, a gold farm. I'm gonna make a creeper farm. Hey, that's what I could do this episode if I'm really so inclined. Is I can go to the end and defeat the Ender Dragon, because that's what I wanted to do anyways. Get there eventually. And but it's a bit weird because my hands are so used to the Elden Ring controls that it's hard to play Minecraft now. No, I keep pressing Elden Ring controls for Minecraft. That's why I don't like to switch between games, because I have to keep switching my my muscle memory. Um, but anyways, all right. So I'm blah blah blah. Whatever. Okay, let's talk about what's been going on. I mean, like, yeah, let's talk about what's been going on. Like, I thought even myself, I had doubts about what I'm doing here. I'm like, what are you doing? You're pretty much talking to yourself about stuff that no one else is talking about. Um, like, what am I doing? But then I have to put it in context. I have to put things in context. And the context is we're in the midst of a fascist uh, coup. It's not over yet. The coup isn't over yet. Just because the Democrats have power right now doesn't mean the coup has stopped happening. Like, only a few low-level people got put away. All the major players who made the coup happen are still loose. I think some of the leaders of the coup got put away. Or some up to the Proud Boy, like the Oath Keepers. I think the Oath Keeper got convicted. The leader got convicted for seditious conspiracy, which is, that pretty much says, hey, you're trying to overthrow the government. And that was January 6th. That was the January 6th insurrection. So things are happening, but they're just happening really slowly. And in the meantime, the bad guys, like, if you look at it in a global sense, the bad guys are everywhere. In Hungary, right, the Obran guy is a bad guy. He's a fascist. He wants to break up NATO and hang out with Putin. With in France, they're having an election. They're having an election right now, and their choice in the election is between center-right Macron or far-right Le Pen. Like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Already in Russia, right? They're Nazi. They've gone full Nazi. They brought mobile crematoriums with them when they invaded Ukraine because they intended to, quote, quote, liquidate, to genocide away the Ukrainian people and erase their history and identity. Totally erase them. If you go to Russia right now, they have a law banning the mention of Ukraine or the Ukrainian people. That's genocide. They're trying to erase an entire people. They're an entire ethnicity. They're trying to. I mean, like, I'm not saying the United States is like pure. Like, we're not lily white, right? We're we're pretty bad, but we're not doing it right now. So So you gotta wonder, like, wow, things the fascists. This is really a global thing. Look at that wolf going around and killing like sheep for nothing, just because he can. Rah! So I mean, are you gonna sit there and be like, "Yo, what's up, wolf?" You gonna let him do that? That's kind of mean. Look what happened. No, sanction. So yeah, it's a global thing. I mean, like, this is the thing I've been talking about for literal years. For literal years. Here, I can even pull it up. I just thought about it and now I'm gonna pull it up. Show images. No. Yeah, show images. I don't even know what would he be under. I made like the montage of yeah, side, choose, time to choose. No, there we go. Ha 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 ha. Right? I've known this. I've known the story for a while. This guy Erdogan, I'm not so sure. Right? He's NATO. He's he's technically on our team, technically, but he's not very democratic. He's pretty authoritarian. Right? But for sure, these guys are bad guys. These guys are bad guys, right? And these people here, these are the good guys, right? So you can choose which side you want to be on. The Confederacy is on the side of the fascists, the bad guys, the bad team. Look down here. This is Rupert Murdoch, right? Rupert Murdoch is the owner of Fox News. And you know what Fox News does, right? so you choose, you pick a side, which side you're on in this global thing going on. It's not a new deal, right? It's not a new deal. Now, I felt real bad for a while, and I almost didn't want to do what I'm doing right now. But then I realized that's exactly what the fascists want me to do. They want me to give up and stop talking. The whole point of the war is attrition. Fascists, it costs nothing for fascists to spew bullshit, to spew lies. It costs them nothing. It's for free, right? If they're not actually attaching themselves to truth and they don't care about what they're saying, then they can say anything they want. They can make any noises they want. It doesn't matter. But for me, I want to make sure that what I say is attached to truth, has integrity, so it sticks. And so if I make a mistake, it hurts. Like if they make a mistake and you call them on it, they don't care. They have no integrity. They just and whip by it and keep going and act as if you didn't say anything, because for them the word isn't about the truth, it's about power. For them, for fascists, the truth is anything the power says it is. That's why Donald Trump can go on television and say that horse dewormer medicine is a good treatment for a virus. Because that lie like cost him nothing. In fact, it made him a lot of money because he bought stocks of ivermectin and then sold it at profit. For a treatment that doesn't even work. He's like literally a horse sale or a snake oil salesman. He's literally a snake oil salesman selling like selling a cure for a disease that doesn't work. but selling it anyways and knowing it doesn't work. Like, oh my God, it hurts me. It hurts me. See, it's not that I it's not that I hate Americans. No, I love Americans. I hate that they get exploited by rich con men. And like, it doesn't matter who they are. Yeah, it's mainly Republicans getting tricked, white Republicans. Sorry, but they're humans, and and I don't want them to get tricked. Like, like sure, haha, it serves you right for listening to a con man, but at the same time, dude's a con man. His whole life is dedicated to tricking people, to breaking the bond of trust between humans. That's his whole shtick, is to break the bond of trust between humans. He takes advantage of it so he can exploit it, and then he leaves, and then the broken pieces, the radiation he doesn't deal with, he leaves behind. That's exactly what it is, right? Humans have a bond of trust. That's how we get around, right? We can't exist if we are distrustful of everyone all the time. We have to trust one another to some extent. Con men break into that circle of trust, and they exploit it. They take what they can, and then they leave, after betraying the trust. So they're not there to deal with the broken human that they left behind. The broken human can't trust anyone anymore. And if you can't trust anyone anymore, that takes a lot more energy to exist. And if it takes a lot more energy to exist, you have a lot less energy to do other stuff. So it's like literally radiation. Sure, you can get a lot of energy out of it, but you have a lot of trash afterwards. Trash. I don't mean to call the human trash, but I mean like you have a lot of waste afterwards. A lot of unwanted stuff. Radiation. It's damage. You have a lot of damage afterwards. It's just a bad way of getting energy. But they do it because it works over and over again. I mean, Trump is still free to run his con. Like, how long has our justice system been going on this nonsense? If dude were black, he'd be like dead already. Right? Am I wrong? Like there's no way Barack Obama could have staged a coup and walked around for like 2 years, like unimpeded, to raise more money and stage more coups. Smaller coups, state level coups. Look at Greg Abbott, dude. Greg Abbott's terrible. He like messed up the border between the United States and Mexico because he didn't like Joe Biden. I bet Putin's really pleased with them. So yeah, pick a side. Choose a side. It's global, right? It's global. Greg Abbott is on this side, over here. This is Joe Biden is gonna be on this side, over here, on this team. Who else do you want? Like Marjorie Taylor Greene is on this side, over here. Team fascist. Yeah, I have the fascists spew a fire hose of lies. It's free for them, so they continually spew the bullshit to wear down the people until they don't resist anymore. They can't resist anymore, and they just give up trying to find out what the truth is. So you have to keep repeating the truth over and over and over again. And yes, it's exhausting. Yes, it's exhausting. But that's what you do to keep your head straight, regardless of the bullshit being spewed at you. So think of it as scarlet rot, and you got your shield up. And yeah, you have a limited bar of stamina, and it costs you stamina to keep it up. But if you keep it up, you can keep pushing forward and then smash and cut them to pieces with your sword of truth. Look at, there's an Elden Ring metaphor for you. It's perfect, like, because I've been playing that game. That's how my head is in. That's the way my head is in. But here's what I mean, right? Like, but I'm telling you, if we can endure, if we can endure for another, I think, I don't know how much longer. I can't say. I hope not until November, because it might be too late till then. But for a little bit longer. So do you remember Marjorie Taylor Greene? Here she is on January 3rd, 2021. 3 days before the January 6th insurrection and attempted coup. 3 days before the attempted coup, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene at the White House. She's leaving the White House. Watch.
Just finished with our meetings here at the White House this afternoon. We had a great planning session for our January 6th objection. We aren't going to let this election be stolen by Joe Biden and the Democrats. President Trump won by a landslide. Call your House reps.
All bullshit.
Your senators from your state.
We've
got to make sure they're on
bullshit.
board, and we already have a lot of people engaged.
Damn,
okay,
dude.
Stay tuned.
She's intense with her bullshit. She is like, whoa, like beaming it. I felt that intense bullshit coming at me. Like, it was intense. She was like absolutely certain in her mind the way things were going. She's a true believer. She is fully into the coup, fully invested into this alternate reality of fascism. That's Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's her. Look how intense she is. Okay. Now, here's 3 days later. 3 days later, now the Capitol is under siege. Everyone is, there's a mob outside breaking into the Capitol, coming in to murder Congress. Right? Well, but some people feel pretty safe about it. Look, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. And now all the senators and everyone, they're in a hall because they're sheltering in place away from the mob. But these people are not afraid. Plus, it's COVID, and they don't want to wear masks. Everyone else is wearing masks, but they're not wearing masks, and they're not afraid of the mob outside. Why? Why aren't they afraid? But she just had it 3 days before. She had a planning session about this, and so she's not afraid at all. She had a planning session. Why would she be afraid? Did you hear him? I don't want to get political here. I just want to leave you alone. He doesn't want to wear a mask. He refuses to wear a mask when they're trapped in a room during COVID. He will not wear a mask despite the regulations that they have to. He won't do it because he's a fascist, because what he's exercising is not reason, is not bodily autonomy. What he's exercising is privilege. It's privilege. It's privilege. It's white privilege. But this is during the coup, right? This is during the coup. And they're totally calm. They're totally calm. They're not at all bothered by the coup. That's weird. Yeah, he was just exercising privilege. But you can tell the Republicans are calm. That's weird. Where's that video of that picture of when one woman was cowering. Congresswoman hides in House Gallery, Jan 6. Images. Okay, and then here, this is in contrast, right? In contrast, here's a Democratic woman, a representative. So that's weird that the Republicans were totally cool and calm with it, but the Democrats were freaked out. Why would the Republicans be totally calm and cool with the fact that there's an angry, violent mob outside trying to overthrow the government? Why would just the Republicans be cool with it, but not the Democrats? The Democrats were terrified, obviously. They wanted to kill Nancy Pelosi. In fact, what's her name said so. Marjorie Taylor Greene said so. But when she was put on trial or when she was put under oath about it, she suddenly forgot.
Ms. Greene, did you advocate to President Trump to impose martial law as a way to remain in power?
I don't recall.
So you're not denying you did it, you just don't remember.
I don't remember.
Okay. And
all right, so she doesn't remember anything about this event where she just walked out of the meeting was super intense, telling you exactly what's happening on January 3rd. She was psyched. She can't remember it. She can't remember. She doesn't remember anything about it. So she might have advocated for martial law, but she can't remember. This moment here, this right here, she can't remember.
Our meetings here at the White House
she doesn't remember it.
Had a great planning
she doesn't remember.
For our January 6th objection.
She doesn't remember.
We aren't going to let this election be stolen.
She doesn't remember.
Joe Biden and the Democrats.
Has no idea.
Trump won by a landslide.
Nope, no idea.
House reps,
she doesn't know. She does not know. She can't remember.
On board and we already have a
Nope.
lot of people engaged.
Nope.
Okay, stay tuned.
Nope, she doesn't know that. She can't remember that at all. She doesn't remember that. Do you see how intense she was? That incredible intensity? Doesn't remember a thing. Weird. Oh yeah, I had this one real quick. Governor Greg Abbott truck inspections turned up 0 drugs, 0 migrants, but cost Texas $4.2 billion. The costly policy, which experts estimate cost hundreds of millions of dollars over the course of a single week, did not result in any migrant detentions or illegal substance seizures. So you have to remember, the way Republicans operate is that words are only vehicles for power. They don't carry truth. Republicans don't really care about truth. They will use whatever words they need in order to get power. So what did Greg Abbott want to do? He wanted to hurt Joe Biden. But he needed a way to do it that he could cover himself. So the way he covered himself is that he said, "Oh yeah, I'm doing it to stop illegal immigrants and drugs." So that was his justification. Well, then we can evaluate the policy, and we find that no, in fact, his policy resulted in no drugs or illegal detentions or illegal migrants or whatever, but it did cost the state lots and lots of money, and that economy is going to be blamed on the incumbent. So it's an election strategy, the same kind of thing that Chris Christie did with the bridge in New Jersey. It's the same thing. That's how Republicans operate. They're like a mafia. Like, if you want to talk to me about this stuff, I'm absolutely open to talking. sure. Like maybe I'm not very accessible, but like if you type to me like email or something, like on the internet, it's a great way of contacting me. The internet is a great mediating medium. It mediates. Because if I'm in person, I get too amped up. There's too much information trying to come through at once. And so I overwhelm the person I'm trying to talk to. But if on the internet, I can modulate not modulate. I can regulate the flow of information. I mean, it's going to be a gigantic download, or maybe I can condense it, but I can also pull in other sources. And it's done at a like you can't interrupt the other person. so I can so everyone gets to say their piece back and forth, and you get a nice structure, a reasoned structure. That's why I like using the internet and like email and like for talking, because then there's a record and you see what's going on. A lot of times when you talk to someone in person and they'll say something and then contradict themselves like a few minutes later, but it's hard to like point back to a few minutes later and have them remember. So that's why I like having it written down. So yeah, I mean like, but everything I'm saying is not just BS to make you feel bad about Republican. I mean, like, yeah, it's to make you feel bad about Republicans and being Republican. I don't want you to be Republican. Republicans are literally anti-American. Literally anti-American. Republicans are literally anti-American. They side with Vladimir Putin. My cat is okay. My cat is I've been feeding him Friskies. Friskies is from Purina. Purina is a company owned by Nestle. Nestle is a company that continues to operate in Russia despite the sanctions. So I'm like, well then screw you, Nestle. I'm just not gonna buy Friskies cat food anymore. So I didn't, even though it was like the cheapest and my cat loved it. So now I went to PetSmart, I think, or Petco, one of those ones, and some pet store, big pet store, and I bought their they had the next cheapest cat food, wet cat food, and it's like a pate, so it's not like the gravy stuff they've been having. It's a pate. Well, one cat, she just ate it up, and she's a good kitty. She's a great kitty. But my dude cat, he is picky. He refuses to eat it. Well, too bad for him, because I bought a bunch of it. So it's gonna be like a rough couple month and a half for us both, because our relationship is not gonna be well. I hate to say. Oh, they increased the bamboo tick rate. So, anyways, yeah, that's what I mean. My cat wants me to buy Russian cat food. Well, I mean Nestle, which is Purina, which is Friskies, and I'm not gonna do it. So he has to get used to it. All right. So the other big scary thing is this one right here. Everyone's laughing at it. Now, it's funny. That's Madison Cawthorn. He's a far right wing representative who advocates for strict gender norms and the criminalization of non-cis normative gender expressions. So the reason why this is funny is not because he's wearing clothing that doesn't conform to his gender. That's not the funny thing. The funny thing is the hypocrisy. that he says, and he uses his power to deny others the right to be non-gender conforming, but then he himself will be non-gender conforming. That's an exercise of white privilege. Again, something that he can do, but you can't do. That's white privilege. That's what he's doing right here. It's not funny because he's wearing non-gender conforming clothing. It's funny because his actions are incongruent with his speech and his other actions. His vote, his exercise of power that he uses on behalf of all the other Americans, not on himself, on behalf of himself. When he's acting on behalf of himself, he can do whatever he wants for himself. But when he votes, he's not acting on behalf of just himself. He's acting on behalf of all of his constituents, and he uses the power of his votes to deprive them of the right to be non-gender conforming. But then he himself, in his own private life, will then go ahead and be non-gender conforming. So it just points to his hypocrisy. It shows that Madison Cawthorn has no credibility. He's a phantom. He's Gumby. Fuck you, Gumby. He'll bend and twist and go wherever he needs to go in order to satisfy power. Because that's all he cares about. Not truth, but power. That's how the entire fascist thing operates. That's what this whole thing's about. Who's this from? This is a guy down here. What's your name? I saw this on Happy Roadkill. Yeah, fuck you, Niesmax. I saw this on Twitter and I stole it. Outside of court, where do I even start? There's the fraud, the collusion, the emails, the corona hoax, the 9/11 celebrations, the satanic rituals, the mole people, the enslaved mole people, the Gatorade mines, the Paul McCartney clones, and inside of court, I think fraud happened. I don't know. So that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. Outside the court, she was all super certain about everything she said. Fire and brimstone. But inside of court, under oath, now suddenly she's real quiet. So okay, let me keep going here. So I was having a conversation, I guess I can say, with my mom. And she was telling me what she's been hearing. Not what she believes, but what she's been hearing. And what she's been hearing is that Biden is too old to be president. Not that she doesn't have, none of the criticisms are pointed to his policies. They're pointed to his age. And that's it. Which is not really a valid criticism. That's ageism. There has to be something you're not voting for Biden to be your husband. To come into a long life and to bear your children and stuff. You're not interviewing Biden to be your husband. You're interviewing Biden to be president. So you evaluate Biden on his job as a president. How has he been doing as a president? Well, the economy seems to be doing pretty good, right? Gas prices are all about Mohammed bin Salman preferring dictatorship to democracy. I still have that picture. I should put it up. Where'd it go? Do I still have it? Come on. Oh, there it is. Yay. Yeah. So the reason why oil prices are high, part of the reason, is because this dude here does not want to raise or to expand production. He is the ruler of Saudi Arabia. This is his dad, but he's like the heir apparent. So he's like the guy who calls the shots. So he's like the ruler, but he's old and lets this guy like kind of take care of things. So what this guy did, Jamal Khashoggi is a journalist from Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is a dictatorship. It's ruled by the kingdom of Saud, the house of Saud. The Saud people, the house of Saud house, whatever. Kingdom of Saud. What do I call that? House Saud? Yeah, because you got House Atreides, House Harkonnen. Well, they're House Saud. House Saud, is a dictatorship, and they don't take kindly to people challenging their authority. They put out this flyer. They murdered this guy, right? This guy, Jamal Khashoggi, is from Saudi Arabia, and he would tell the truth about what's going on inside that country. The rule of House Saud is very bad for the people of Saudi Arabia. The people are poor and they suffer a lot. The wealth that the oil generates does not necessarily flow. Man, my nose is itching. The wealth of Saudi Arabia does not necessarily flow down to the people. I mean, if you compare their standard of living to the standard of living of other industrialized nations, they're pretty low down on the totem pole, and that's bad and that's terrible. And coming from a democratic nation, that's something. Plus, this democratic nation, the United States, we kind of got attacked by Saudi Arabia. Remember, Saudi Arabia promotes a form of Islam that is extreme and hateful toward the West. It's polarizing. Not all Islam is like Christianity. How many flavors of Christianity do you have? There's like a million billion different flavors of Christianity. The same thing with Islam. There's a million billion different flavors of Islam. But these guys push one particular flavor of Islam. It's like the Southern Conservative Baptist flavor of Islam. if you know what I mean. It's pretty rigid. In fact, take almost everything about Southern Baptist and then like erase it and then replace the cross with the crescent. Replace the leaders with the Muslim equivalents. Replace the Bible with the Quran, and it's essentially the same thing. Like nothing else has changed. They want rigid social hierarchies, and they want rigid social gender norms, and they want fundamentalist thinking. They're exactly the same. So my mom was hearing that Joe Biden was too old. Then she was hearing that the Border Patrol, like the media was telling her that the Border Patrol does bad things, but they have a hard job. Look at the hard job that they have to do. So it's understandable that they might have like some bad apples. And I like flipped out. I was like, oh, no way. The Border Patrol is full of white supremacists. It's full of white supremacists. The president of the Border Patrol Union, which is kind of weird that the Border Patrol has a union, but the Border Patrol has a union, and the president of this union is a white supremacist. So it's kind of bad to have enforcement of our borders be handled by white supremacists. I mean, it's really bad, especially considering that the strength of the United States is our diversity. That's our strength. So if you put white supremacists in charge of running the border, that's the thing. That's the thing. Hey, before I get to this, right? You have to look at the way that form and content are related. Like, there's a duality. There's a duality between form and content. And in the West, I'm not saying anywhere else, right? I'm just saying in the West, with the ancient Greeks, they had to figure out what is form and what is content. They didn't even know what that was. What is form? What is content? So, and it didn't happen all at once, and it didn't happen in the same place, and it didn't happen in a nice, neat order. Someone came along afterwards and took all the broken pieces and put them back together to make it look like a beautiful picture. But when it happened, it was ugly as hell. It was broken into all sorts of pieces, and and scattered. It was all scattered. So he had to go around and grab all the pieces from all around and bring them back together to make a nice, pretty picture. Okay. So the ancient Greeks, they didn't you have to remember, people assume that I know, not I, but they, whoever, right? That the person, has their inner voice, blah, 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 blah. But that's not a given. That's not something that the I, how I say I and how you say I, how everyone says I to them for when they refer to themselves. That's not a given. You aren't born with that. It's not something that's handed to you through biology. You cannot be given the I from just being born, just your genes. If you wanted to run an evil experiment, what we would do is we would have a newborn baby born. As soon as that newborn baby is born, we would throw that newborn baby in a pit or something. Not even a pit, but somewhere where there's very little sensory input, but they're given sustenance so they don't die. So the genes will let them keep living. They won't die. But after 5 years, 10 years, and you go to try to talk to them, you can't interact with them. There's no interaction because the human is not something that is just that comes out. It's something that's created socially. The I, the framework from the heart, the way your brain even functions, the operating system of your brain is something that has to be installed after you're born by society. It's not just given to you. And that operating system from society didn't just come from nowhere. It's been in development for thousands of years. It's literally been in development for thousands of years, this operating system that we download to new humans. So the hardware is generally the same. It's the software that's getting upgraded continually. And it's gotten to the point that people forget that the software is not hardwired. The software is not hardwired. You don't start out with the concept of the inner self and the outer self. You have to develop that, and society has to impart it upon you. And society has to know about it before it can impart it upon you. For example, back in the day, ancient Greece, they had no real concept of the inner and outer self. When, they can refer to I, me, to the individual, but there was no distinction between the outer part of the I and the inner part, the I and the me. I don't know if that makes sense, but does that make sense to you? Am I making sense? The I and the me. They didn't have a concept of the I and the me. They didn't have that idea yet. They had to develop it. Sappho, the great poet from Lesbo. She's the one who wrote poetry that had a sense of that talked about the inner self. And even before Sappho, there was Homer, who in the Odyssey, when Odysseus said on the outside he had a stone face, like as like when he was being questioned about the death of his men, he's like, oh yeah, those weren't my men, I don't really care. But on the inside, he was like, oh my god, that was terrible. That was like the first time like it was written that that someone could have two different ways of being. That on one side you could be one way, and on the inside you could be a different way. So like that was like revolutionary. It was something that was developed over time. So that shows you the difference between the form, what you put out, and the content, what's the stuff inside. And that idea is useful for everything, because now you have a container, right? The container is the form, like the chest is the form, but the stuff inside is the content. Okay, that idea works to identify racism really, 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 really well. Because for the racist, for the white supremacist, for them, the form dictates the content. For the white supremacist, whatever the outside is also the inside. There's no difference. Like, you know how the ancient Greeks can have the outside that they represent, and then they have the inner world that's totally different? For the fascist, you can't do that. The inside is the same as the outside for the fascist. Therefore, if society looks at you and sees that you're one thing, then you must be that thing, regardless of what your content is. That's what the fascist thinks, right? So the fascist will be like, oh, look, here's a brown person. I can ignore the fact that this brown person is doing Nazi stuff. I will ignore all the Nazi things this brown person is doing and saying, and only point to the form of the person and say, oh, he can't be a Nazi, he's brown. He can't be a Nazi, he's a Jew. He can't be a Nazi, he's a Muslim. Like, whatever, right? Whatever. They can't tell that they can't do it. Fascists can't do the thing where the form and the content are different. So, but Greeks can. I don't know. So, I want to go back now. I hear the iron farm working. Ha 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 ha. And the cat farm. Ha 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 ha. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I had you up here, dude. No, it was over here. It was over here. I lost it totally. I closed it, and I shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done that. Pick a side. So fascists will point to like a black man who carries a Confederate flag and fights with the Proud Boys, and they'll say, "Look, Proud Boys can't be fascists. Look, we have a black man on our team, and if the black man's form is black, therefore, and black people can't be racist, therefore, Proud Boys aren't racist. Look, we have our token here." That's what they want to say, because for the fascists, form dictates content. So, but we can see that no, that's not always the case. That's why Hungarian fascists are the same as Hungarian fascists can ally with Russian fascists, who ally with French fascists, who ally with American. Well, I don't have the French fascists on here. With Australian fascists who ally with American fascists, who ally with American fascists and Russian fascists and Saudi Arabian fascists. So okay. So I went out in the neighborhood the other day. I went outside yesterday. And I ate at a burger restaurant because it's a really, really good burger. Nancy Joe's Burger Restaurant on Commercial. Yeah, I don't know. I heard the owner's I don't know if their owner's racist or not. I don't know. But the burger is good. It's expensive, but it's good. And I was in there, and as I was eating, I think the table next to me was talking about me, but I can't hear really good out the sides. So I don't know what they're talking about. So I feel kind of like bad because if they're trying to communicate with me, like maybe that was a way of them trying to communicate with me, but it's not gonna work unless you like talk to me directly. I'm not gonna hear you. I'm not gonna get you unless you talk to me directly. Yeah, unionization. That's happening. Starbucks has got unionized. One Starbucks, and Amazon got unionized. That's happening. I hope Walmart gets unionized. If Walmart gets unionized, that's a massive number of people in the country that work for Walmart. That would be fantastic. If we could unionize Walmart, imagine the uplift in American standard of living by unionizing Walmart. Jeez Louise. Like already I see them trying to push people off onto automated self-checkout. I hate that stuff. I hate self-checkout. I hate it. Because it's work. And I recognize it. But if we can unionize Walmart, that would be fantastic. Unions are great. I love unions. Unions are the best. But I'm not so sure about police unions. That seems a little bit different. Like, police use force. So, like, I don't know if they should be allowed to have a union. They need to be more tightly regulated. Since they use force, they should be more tightly regulated and not allowed to have a union. Yeah, I don't like the idea of police unions. Man, this bamboo is like rocking now. The update really fixed things. Oh, what else is going on? All right, one last thing. Oh, I don't want to do that. Yeah, vision work. I think it's important that we also look at where we want to go. Not only like I'm kind of fixated on all the bad things coming at me are coming, and so it's kind of hard. But like I think writing things down is important. I don't do it very much. But even if you just write it down, like keep a log and write it down, like I remember one day I wrote down something crazy, like I want to go to Japan. And then it happened. Eventually, it happened. so like, I don't know. Try it out. Write down your dreams and then see what happens. But you have to be able to see your dreams clearly enough to write them down. All right. Until next time, America. Hang in there. Hang in there. I think I'll feel a lot better once I start seeing Donald Trump go down. Like, it's hard now because, for me, because I've been like waiting for so long for some resolution for this. But I think, like, it's gonna end one way or the other by November. Either he'll be arrested, Donald Trump will be arrested and indicted, or at least indicted, or America will undergo a fascist coup if the justice system doesn't kick in before the election. So one way or another, this is gonna get solved. So hang in there, and keep fighting for the good. We want to truth. Truth is what we're aiming for. All right, peace. Pogo Kiddo out. Stop.